This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back. Grant Cooper joining us again. He's the owner at Strategic Resumes, based out of New Orleans, Louisiana, but he is here to talk more about helping you elevate your career. And of course, with his career services, his job coaching and skills training, there's so much to him. First and foremost, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great, really great.
How's the weather in New Orleans? A little hot?
Well, you know, New Orleans, if you were going to visit here, I wouldn't recommend July or August. You know, come during the fall or the early part of the year when Mardi Gras happens, when the Jazz Fest happens, and all those things. So,
Beautiful. Well, we're excited to have you here. For those that may not know, tell us a little overview about your company and the work that you do.
yeah, 31 years ago, I'm from New Orleans, but I returned here to do some business. And I was at church one day, and this woman that I know had a resume company and she wanted to sell it. And I'm like, let me see about that. So I shadowed her for a couple of weeks. I ended up buying it, and it's been like what they say, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I've loved it every day since.
Beautiful. And you're so awesome. I mean, the work you're doing, you're helping so many. We're going to dive into specifics, what you do. So, where did you want to begin? I know we have some topics for today, including AI and how that's affecting stuff too. So, where do we begin?
Well, you know, where we could begin is this. One of my clients, and this is just a couple of years ago, every week, every year, every whatever, I learned something new. And my client said, you know, Grant, my dad told me once that most decisions about my future will be made by other people when
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in the room.
Mm.
So I need something that's going to speak for me. He told me go find the very best resume writer and so forth. So that's why, whether you're an entrepreneur and you need a pitch piece, whether you're a celebrity like you, Jill, and you need,
Stop.
publicity and brochures and biographies and all those kind of things, or whether you're like a career person and you're looking for your next job chapter, you need something that will stand up for you when you're not in the room. And that's what I do, and that's what my service does. We take input from everybody. We ask them lots of probing questions, and then we create documents, whether they be hard copy or digital, that show them to their best effect.
All right. And how are we doing all this? Explain the process.
Well, the process is really simple. I have people tell me, like, okay, tell me what you've got now.
Yeah.
Like, do you already have a resume, an old resume or something? Do you have whatever it is? Get that to me. And also tell me, what is it you want for your next move? Like, do you want to be a corporate person? Do you want to be in
Mm-hmm.
sales? Do you want to be in accounting? Whatever it is. And what's your goal? Do you want to be VP level? Do you want to be a director, a manager? And then at that point, I know enough to know what I've got to do for them.
Got it.
And I let them know, here's my pricing, here are some options and choices for you. And if they give me the green light, then we start the process. And the process is where I email them a list of questions. Now, look, some people prefer verbal, and I can do it on the phone. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Or like we're doing virtually with Zoom or whatever. But I usually email them because when you email people, they can sit back on their own time and think about it and like, oh yeah, I remember I once was the orange queen of Morris County or whatever. So they remember all these things that you wouldn't remember if you're just talking directly to someone. Okay, or they dig through their certificates or they look at past clippings or whatever. So then they get me that information. And I say, okay, I've got all the information I need now. And then I go into creation mode and I create something in business, they tell you, don't over promise,
Really?
but over deliver, right? Well, I don't believe in that. I over
Mm-hmm.
promise.
Mm-hmm.
Because if what I give you doesn't make your jaw drop, doesn't go like, oh my God, oh, I showed this to a few people and they said it's fantastic, then I'm doing something wrong. It's got to be great. We can't go with, best 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. It's got to be 9.5, 10 out of 10.
Got it. Oh, my goodness. We got to make things happen. And you are helping so many do this, right? And with your job and just helping so many, you clearly, you love what you do. You have a passion for it, right? And helping that person really excel and succeed. It says a lot.
Yeah, my dad, I might have mentioned this last time, I don't know, but my dad was a psychotherapist. And I always thought growing up, like, oh, I'll never do that. I don't want to do anything like that because, you're kind of rebellious when you're a kid and you think, oh, that's old fashioned. I want to do something different. Well, guess what? I'm kind
Mm-hmm.
of doing that, because my clients come to me, they're confused. Sometimes they're depressed. I even have a few that, have cried at my, on the phone or in my office, like, they're at a very vulnerable time in their lives. And I give them the tools and the confidence, and they go like, wow, now I really feel good. And it just makes a world of difference because, it's, one of my project partners for something else that I'm doing because I do resumes. I also do business plans for startups and so forth. But one of my partners in a little startup, he told me something that just totally connected with me.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking, and it had to do with like medical laboratory stuff. And we were looking at, and we've already done it. We've actually opened medical laboratory services
Wow.
in different physician offices, things like that. And we were talking about the competition out there. And he said, Grant, he says, I believe in the blue ocean concept. I
Mm.
said,
Uh,
what's that?
Good. I'm like, I don't know it either. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
And what it is this. There's a lot out there. It's a blue ocean. It's like, don't worry about, oh, this person might be doing something similar. It doesn't matter. Do you know how many people out there need services and products, who are just waiting for the right person or the right offering, the right choices to come along? So it's a blue ocean philosophy. Like, don't be in a limited philosophy of
Yeah.
scarcity. No, blue ocean. They're like, and that's also help other people. Like, oh, if I help them, they might compete with me. Don't worry about it. If you
Yeah.
help them and you're both in the blue ocean and you're going to help each other. So I've helped a lot of people, and it all comes back to me. It always does.
Oh my goodness. I love it. All right, let's continue. Where are we? I'm sorry to digress with
Well, we
us.
could talk about AI.
AI. Yes, AI. That's one of the hot topics.
Okay.
Yes.
Everybody's talking about AI, and I noticed among my business colleagues and friends that some of them kind of have a negative view, and I understand everything. It doesn't matter what it is, has some positive, some negative. But they look at it like, oh, a lot of people are going to lose jobs. In my industry, they go, oh my God, AI can write a resume. They're not going to need me. AI can create digital figures and hosts, so they're not going to need Jill Nicolini anymore. They'll
Exactly.
just have
True.
like a robotic person asking stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me just tell you, I'm an old guy. Okay, I got gray hair. Okay, and I've been around a while. I remember in 1995, I think it was, when Microsoft came out with this thing called resume templates. And
Oh,
and I had
yes.
already been in business, for quite a few years at that point. Okay, couple of years at that point. And resume writers were freaking out, like, oh my God, these resume templates, nobody's gonna need resume. Yeah,
Yeah.
resume writers. Those templates, first of all, they're not that great. Second of all, they're kind of, when you've seen one, you've seen them all. So, employers who get those, you've got them like, oh my God, here's another one of those. Oh, forget that. So the only reason I bring it up is because everything can be like that, like AI. I'm already seeing, because in addition to writing resumes and cover letters and helping people with their LinkedIn and all that other kind of stuff, I help people by career coaching, right? And so I've found already when I'm out there that there are
Mm-hmm.
applications that say, do not use AI in writing your cover letter.
Oh.
And they say, even it's like, in college kids, if they use something, their software that can tell that it was plagiarized, you know what I mean? And apparently AI, hey, there are some AI programs that can tell if another AI program did something. So that's going to
Oh my
happen.
gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's going to happen where they say, we don't want any AI stuff. So, and I don't really think that's the biggest aspect. The main thing is this: everything, if you think that AI can like do everything perfectly for you, good luck with that. It doesn't work that way. Like it can do a lot, it can help you, it can save you some time, but to gift you with a finished product that's going to do what you want, no. Human beings. And let's face it, like humans, right? We've got this big brain, right? And with the exception maybe of, some whales or something, we've got the biggest brains known in the world, in the universe, on the planet for sure. And the amount of synapses of everything else in our brains, we're better than computers. Now, a computer can do certain things faster, but
Mm-hmm.
I promise you, you give an AI something and tell me to do something. Now, here's the other thing. I might use AI, but I'll beat the AI. And that reminds me, I was at a conference recently and they brought in this real big AI expert from New York. And it
Oh
was great.
wow.
And everybody, he was a great speaker. And I really liked what he said. And he told us, he says, everybody might tell you that AI will take your job. He says, AI is not going to take your job, but someone who uses AI will take your job if you
Interesting.
don't get with it, if you don't use it. So basically what I'm saying to people is this: figure it out. There's so much opportunity that AI is bringing out now of things you can do. I've got a grandson, right?
Mm-hmm.
And years ago, you know, if you wanted your house or your car washed, you had to get out an old hose and do everything. Well, they came out with these pressure washer things, and you can just clean the side of your house much more easily, clean your car, pressure washer, and all that, right? And a lot of people thought, oh, people who do that service, people are just going to buy it and do it themselves. Well, my grandson bought a pressure washer and he created his own little business while he's in high school.
Oh wow. Smart.
And like the library down the street, he went to them and talked to the library manager, and they paid him $400, and it took him a day's work. But $400 in a day is not bad for a high school kid. And he pressure washed the outside of the little library branch. So there's opportunity out there. Whatever you do, uh, you know, brainstorm with other people and figure out like, wow, I could use AI to help me with this. It used to be maybe a year or two ago before AI was really getting going, and you wanted to do that service for people. No, because you'd have to hire other people to help you do it. Now you can use AI and you can provide that service.
Mm.
So it's a wonderful opportunity out there for people in almost any field. If you get with AI, you can just be innovative and people will be paying you lots of money for what you do.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
like it's like this, right? If I tell somebody, hey, I know you came to me for this service, okay, whatever it could be a resume, it could be business plan, it could be whatever. Just forget me. Just go
Yeah.
use ChatGPT and use AI. You know
Yeah.
what? What they come up with is not going to be so good. In fact, I've been to some AI workshops, right? And you know what I found out? AI is great. I love it. But it's not that easy as you think. You have to learn all the correct prompts. You have to learn how to work with it and then go back through it and edit things and how to deploy it, you know. Everything has to be deployed. So you know, look, I'm actually probably in not so many years, I'm going to retire, right? It's going to happen. It happens to everybody, right? And my kids, one of them is a geoscientist. One of them is, I think I told you this before, she's the director of sales for mountain bikes. And the
Mm-hmm.
other is a doctor. My baby daughter is a doctor. They don't want to take over my business. And I guess I could beat the bushes and try to find somebody who would take over my business, but taking over a business is not easy. You have to learn everything. They'd probably take on a year or so, just like as a intern or understudy to figure it out, everything that I do. So I'm going to retire. And when I do, I don't think AI is going to be able to handle everything.
Yeah.
It can't just I can't just tell them like, go use AI. So if, however, younger people right now, and that's anybody from, 15 to 50, start. There's plenty of free things out there.
Yeah.
There's plenty of things that don't cost too much. I wouldn't spend a ton of money on courses for it, but you can, and start using it for different things, creating logos, creating brochures, creating websites,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. And you can then offer that service to other people. And guess what? They're going
Mhm.
to they're going to want your service, because all the things that you're going to have to learn, which you will, it's nothing as good as easy. It takes some work, right? Everything that you had to do, they don't have the time to do that.
Yeah.
They've got their own thing going. They're glad that you took the time to do it, and they're willing to pay you for what you've learned.
Mm.
So anyway, that's
Interesting.
my little spiel on
I
AI.
I love
And
the little spiel. It's a good spiel.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, by the way, we should remind everyone,
yeah.
Grant Cooper is with us. Grant is our strategic resume expert. Yeah, well, that's the name of the company, Strategic Resumes, and he's helping so many with all his coaching, job training skills, certified resume writers, business document writing. He does it all and offers, lots of career services to get you elevated and get you moving. Well, we still have 8 more minutes. We got plenty of time, Grant. What else in particular did you want to make it for your listeners to talk about today? That's of
Here's
importance.
something that is one of the very most important principles that people need to know.
Okay.
And a guy who, I wanted to, when I just started my business I started in 94, but in 95, I was like looking to elevate, right? I did, and I succeeded. Okay. And there was a guy with a local company called Kinko's. You might have heard of
I
them.
remember Kinko's, yes.
Yeah. Well, he was the regional manager for Kinko's, and he lived in New Orleans. And he and his wife owned 7 of the stores in New Orleans, and he managed another dozen or so in the Gulf Coast area, right? And I knew that if I could get my resume services into Kinko's, I could, get volume and make a lot of money. So I wanted to do that. And I made appointments with him. And every time it would come around for the appointment, his secretary or office manager would call me and she would say, Grant, John is not going to be able, something came up, and happened 3 or 4 times, right?
Yeah.
So finally it happened again. And she said, he's training people over at the West Bank location. So I said, okay. I got in my car.
Hmm.
I drove over to the West Bank location.
Okay.
I I had never met him before, but I saw it was clearly him. Somebody pointed, I said, that's John. Yeah, that's him. And I waited till it looked like he had a moment. I went up to him. I said, John, I just need 3 minutes to pitch you on this. And he said, oh man, I'm so sorry. We had to cancel sometimes, whatever. I've been so busy. I said, look, John, I know. Just let me pitch this to you. And I pitched it to him. Look, people go to Kinko's, they get their resumes, copied and everything, but some people are going to want it to be written. And if you offer my service, we private label it, and then you'll make money and I'll make money and blah, 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 blah. You're leaving money on the table by not offering this. And he's like, I love it. I love it. Okay. Well, at meetings later, I met the founder of Kinko's. And by the way,
Wow.
the founder of Kinko's got his nickname. His nickname was Kinko because when he was in college, he had curly red hair, and his nickname was Kinko because he had curly hair.
Got it.
So that's how he did it. And he started out, people had to go to he was at a university area in Southern California, and everybody had to go to the library at the university and put 10 cents, 10 cents a time and get their copies made. And he figured, well, if I can make copies for 7 cents, people will come to me instead of going to the university library. There were no copy stores at that point.
Yeah.
He was the first, and his name's Paul Orfalea.
Okay.
And when you watch PBS shows,
Oh,
sometimes they brought
cool.
to you by the Orfalea Family Foundation. He made so much
Yeah.
money, he created a foundation that helped a lot of people. So, and did public television and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, John would introduce me at these meetings with all these executives. And he said, Grant Cooper is the master of polite persistence. And he told the story
Wow.
of how, I kept trying to get an appointment with him and I finally just went over there. And persistence is so important. I get my clients and they go like, Grant, I sent out these, resumes and nothing happened and I'm not getting any answers and I need to get this job. And I tell them, look, you have to be persistent, but be polite. Okay. And there was a young woman who was working on her master's in English. She wanted a job with me. I had 5 or 6 writers at that moment in time. I didn't need any more, but she kept coming over. And one time she came over and I just said, all right. I didn't need her any more than I needed before, but she was so persistent and positive and nice and polite about it. I hired her, and she was a great employee. She's now a professor at University of Alabama. She's got a PhD now and everything else. But she was wonderful, a great employee. But that's an example of just being persistent, And a lot of times, let's say, whether it's a resume you put in or a business plan or a proposal or a pitch, you don't hear anything back. And most people, they think, oh, well, they didn't like it, or they're not that into me or whatever. No, they're busy. They've got other things that they're doing. And sure enough, a lot of times, a week later, all of a sudden they get the call. You just don't give up. It takes time.
Don't give up. I love it. Well, thank you so much. And we're almost out of time, so we got to kind of
Okay.
sum things up and find out, of course, how we can reach you.
Yeah, I am one of the few people left on the planet that actually answers my phone. So you can call me directly, and I get people all the time, and and there's no charge. Call and ask advice, and we talk and everything. 504-813-9922. And the other way is old fashioned too, and I guess that's email, and it's gc@resupro.com, and ResuPro is a combination of the word resume and professional, so it's gc@resupro.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Always a
Thank
pleasure
you.
having you here. Great to chat, and hopefully we'll connect again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, Grant, and looking forward to speaking with you soon. To all of our listeners and viewers, thank you for being here and tuning in.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.